There's very few builders that make y'all act as crazy as y'all do, like this builder. And when this builder's name comes up, there's just a light that brightens up in so many of y'all's eyes, and y'all are just excited to see them no matter what the neighborhood is. And this one happens to be in one of the top selling master plan communities in all of Houston. Today, we are checking out the 70, 60, and 50-foot products from Toll Brothers. Again, Toll Brothers in Elyson, in a major community, not off by themselves, tons of amenities, tons of lakes, tons of walking trails, schools on site, all the stuff that you care about. And when this was announced, this literally shifted the trajectory of people that I had looking out west. I had people that were like, hey, we'll go check out Grange, we'll go check out Fulshire Lakes, we're going to check out some of these other places. And when they heard that this builder was coming to this neighborhood, they were like, pump the brakes. Let's wait for them to see what they're going to do and see what their pricing is. We're going to go over all of that. Y'all know and love Elyson. So there's some stuff that you already do know, but we're going to go over the taxes, schools, all the stuff that you care about. If that sounds good, stay tuned. And so before we get into the nitty gritty of the actual model homes and all this stuff, this whole section, I'm going to do a slow pan behind me. See this main little lake is kind of like the heart lake of this whole section. But all of this is exclusively, as of this moment, all Toll Brothers. And so you're gonna have some of your more estate sections backing up to and looking and overlooking that lake. You're gonna have some of the smaller sections kind of on the outskirts of the middle section that basically is gonna have some of the more premier premium lots that have access and viewpoints to the lakes, right? And then you're gonna have the 50s and the 60s, which are no slouches because they go up to a nice size as well in this whole little section, but it is all currently Toll Brothers. So you are going to have that nice, pretty elevation and where it just looks a little bit more modern that some of the other builders don't quite get quite right. But you're going to have a certain look in this section that for people that love Toll Brothers, I think they're going to absolutely want to be over on this side. But this is going to be what you got. It's not super huge, so you're not going to want to pussyfoot on this, right? I'm already seeing sold signs on lots that are about to start construction. I see a couple inventory homes behind me that they have already looked like are damn near at completion, right? So we are underway. If you wanted Toll Brothers and you wanted to be in Elyson, now's the time. I don't think that these are gonna last very long because like I said, this was one of those builders that just shifted the market for people that I had, specifically for me, that were looking out west. They were 100% on pins and needles waiting for the updates for this one. And I'm bringing it to them like I'm bringing it to y'all, okay? So yeah, now we'll hop into checking out the 70-foot and then we'll work our way down. We'll talk about the pricing and all that other stuff. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, so first things first, I'm already knowing I'm gonna hear the Mrs.'s mouth because she loves a little L-shape elevation, man. Anytime she gets that split garage and one of them makes her little compound feel, she absolutely loves it. So I already know I'm gonna have to bring her out here and get her reactions. We are now walking into a 70-foot model. And I'm already, oof, my goodness. My. Okay. So off the front, looks like we got a half bath, which I'm a fan of. Don't have to have people in your business going through your rooms. Oh man, that's beautiful. I love me some Toll, y'all. I'm a fan. So this would be normally your garage, okay? And it looks like they have a nice little ensuite in here. I love how that's tucked off in that little hallway, man. This is, oh my goodness. I did pass a little bathroom, so we will go back. Good size closet, tall ceilings. Another thing, don't be freaked out. In most of the model homes for Toll, they don't really like people to have to go through rooms and bother with doors and things. They want you to just kind of free flow through the house, not really thinking about germs. I think it actually started during the COVID time is when I noticed it, where they kind of took the doors off so people didn't have that germ point. But it also just helps light just kind of pass through and free flow through the houses. So Yes, you will get doors if you pay for this much money for a house. You will get doors, but in the model homes, they don't have it for at least most of the homes that I've seen in the Houston metro. And they just doing that thing, man. Not quite done. This is an early look. They had a realtors event a couple weeks ago that I wasn't able to make because I was closing with one of my client families. Shout out to them. So I couldn't quite make that event. But I hit up Lori and say, hey, before y'all have a full grand opening, can I come in here and do my thing? And she said, absolutely. So that's what we're doing. So at some point in time, this is gonna be all dolled up. And for those of y'all that have been watching the channel for a little while, I referenced the skinny toe pool a lot, right? So this is a big house on a not so oversized lot. Can you get a pool in? Absolutely. Is it gonna be the hugest? Probably not, right? But do you have your little hot tub? Do you have your little pool? Yes, you do, right? And this is not an oversized lot. It's a corner lot, but it is not an oversized lot. As a matter of fact, we'll go out just so you can get the vibes of the size that you'll get. Love this patio. Love that it is presenting almost a 2-story vibe. That's a weakness that I have for patios, but again, this isn't a super huge backyard. Yet and still, you still got putting green size back there, fun. Still got you a nice size pool. Still got you a hot tub. And this is, again, not an oversized lot, okay? So I know I get asked that a lot, you know, if it's not an oversized, can I fit a pool? Yeah, absolutely. And that might not be the biggest, but you can fit one, okay? The things that I'm loving in here, I'm loving the verticality that they have presented. It doesn't do the true 2-story foyer, but it does give you, and family room, but it does give you that elevation with these coffer ceilings to kind of do what they do. And I love the little peekaboo windows that they have just kind of placed in random spots to make sure that that natural light just comes through at different angles. And this is just, oh my goodness. Toll is gonna toll now. And in a neighborhood like Elyson, I would not expect anything less than tolling. But before we get too far into it, let me give y'all some stats. So we are in the Aspen collection. That is the 70-foot plan. Over here, we are in the Vanquish model. It is a natural 5-bedroom, but can go up to as big as 6. The base plan on this is $767, and the transitional elevation, which I believe this one is, they usually pick the highest or the second from highest for the elevation, just to kind of show you what you're springing for on the models, is going to start at $789. Okay. We are at 4,400 square feet, give or take, and then you'll be able to shuffle that depending on what you add to the house, okay? Natural 3-car garage. All right, so back into the house. We don't have a formal dining on it, but it does frame off beautifully to give you that indoor-outdoor vibe, especially if you got the kitchen. So you out there grilling, you bring that plate right to the table. Boom, boom, and then we just got this beautiful little framed, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Okay. Coming back here, looks like we have a wet bar area. Fan, we got a secret office. Oh, okay. Super fan. I kind of actually love when the offices are kind of tucked off in the back as opposed to being in the front by the streets. I don't know, it's just a weird thing that I have found myself loving. There's a smaller plan by Highland that does it, the Kingston, I believe. It has the office kind of tucked into the back off of the kitchen, and I've always just liked that kind of design. Drees does that in a few of their plans as well. And it looks like Toll Brother said, hey, bro, chill out. We the OGs of this. We do this. Beautiful. Now that's movie magic. Don't get catfished by that. The layouts. Now I will say that in a house that is approaching 4,400 square feet, that this is not the hugest space. Of course, they are showing you, and the beautiful thing about models that are furnished is they can show you the size of things that you can get in here. You got full furniture. We got a full layout, a little sofa decor over here, huge decorations in here, dressers, big size king bed, right? So yes, it can fit a lot of stuff, but just coming in here and just visibly what I'm seeing and feeling is that we've been definitely in bigger primary bedrooms for a house that is this size, but it feels good. We slide into this spa here. This might be one of the biggest tubs I've ever seen. They got the Toll Brother sign branding all over. This is a good layout. Good make ready station over here. Really good size shower. Really big bench. I'm sure if you wanted to do the rainforest head and all that other stuff, you could do that as well. Nice little linen closet because we need it. And then a good closet. Again, secondary kind of note is that this is probably not going to be one of the bigger closets that I have seen for a house that is approaching 4,400 square feet, but it is a good size. So I'm interested. I don't know if I have many of this model on my channel. So I'm actually I don't think I showed y'all that. I don't think I have many of this model, if any, on my channel. So I'm actually very interested to see how the second story functions, because we have a primary down. What was this little room? Did we go back here? We got a half bath off the front door. What is this? Like a little wet bar? What's this? Oh, a little baby office tucked off. I'm very interested to see how this shapes up, because so far we have one bed, two bed, and somebody owes me 3 to 4 more bedrooms in this house. So I'm assuming that this second story is gonna open up crazy upstairs. But let's see. Liking this game room flex space. Loving that. I wonder if this space has an option for a media room if they don't already have one. Oh, looks like I found a media room, so we don't need that. So this is just a great space, great lounge entertainment space. Really nice. I like this a lot. So if you were doing homeschooling, we got perfect space over here for homeschooling. If you're having game nights and things, you got tons of space to spread out and do the things. If you're a pool table haver, plenty of room. Little baby, little peekaboo. It's like a cool little peekaboo. It's not really like a peekaboo. It's cool. It's cool. Slide on into this movie room, and this is grand. This is nice. Some of this is movie magic because we have it beautifully decorated, of course. Got a little wet bar in here as well. Good size. I think this one's gonna tour and show well, man, when I get people coming out here. Got 3 bedrooms, all right? Let's check them out. good size. You could probably force a queen in here with some more thought out decor for side tables and things of that nature. If you're gonna go full, you got fulls all day. Yeah, it's a really good size. Good size closet also. This one has an ensuite. Always a fan of that. A lot of the builders would choose to do a Jack and Jill on some of these bathrooms. So let's see if that's the route that they go. It looks like no Jack and Jill. Looks like we have a shared hall bath, which I'm not the hugest fan of, but I would imagine that if we looked at that sheet one more time, that it was like an option to have. Actually, nope. Good. Good on you, Toll. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Good deal. So, nice room. Nice size. You can probably damn near fit a king in here if you wanted to really just squeeze it, but you got that window. That's the one knock that I would say, which would force me to probably put the bed on this wall, and you kind of lose space when you do that, but I'm not really a huge fan of the bed encroaching on that window. And that's how they want you to do it also. So they're doing a little movie magic to show you that this room is big, wide, width-wise, because they want your TV to be here and your headboard to be this way, so you don't cut off that window. But I think they're just trying to show you that this room is actually really big. Got your own ensuite on this one as well. All right, so we got 3 beds, 3 baths that we have seen so far. Or 4 we've seen, I'll take that back. We had en-suites on the one downstairs, the primary. This one had an ensuite, that one had an ensuite. Okay, that's a lot of bathrooms, okay. Does this one have its own ensuite as well, or they're the guest? Y'all share that bathroom. I see it now, I get it. They have one of the better closets, but they sacrifice on the bathroom. Now I would imagine that there's an option to increase a bathroom on this one, to have this basically connected to that room, just looking at the passage that we got here. But then that would create a problem for these people. So if you're up here entertaining or doing anything, you throwing a party, you would now be asking those people to go into somebody's bathroom, which I'm never a fan of, especially if you're at this price point. Everybody needs to get their own bathroom, and we need to have a guest bath so people ain't coming sticking up Chandler's bathroom, man. That ain't cool. Nobody likes that, right? So that is the first one. Again, that's the Vanquish plan, 70 foot. We started off with a bang. Whew. If I had to, well, I'm not gonna be shy on this one. Toll Brothers put some money into their models, okay? So I'm knowing, did they put a secret kitchen that God damn it, they put a, okay, so they did the thing, not a secret kitchen. They did the thing that Toll Brother really does really well, which is like pantry space and laundry rooms. So good pantry, but this laundry kind of doubles as almost like a soup kitchen, where you can put more stuff for another refrigerator, deep freezer. I have a lot of clients that say, give me builders that give me that capability to do like a deep freezer or a secondary refrigerator, because we got big families, we got kids that are big and they just eat me out of house and home. We need somewhere else to put this stuff. And this becomes like a spice kitchen almost, overflow. And so that is cool. And now, hold on. You know who I'm about to talk to. Y'all watch out real quick. I'm about to talk to one of my clients. Now this one actually might work for you. Hold on now. I know you were looking up north. I ain't gonna expose you where you looking. I know you were looking up north, but you might come back out here to Katy now. Hold on. But no, so let's get back to the stats. Back to the rest of the family now. Aspen plan, 70 foot. We talked about this one. This is the Vanquish. You have up to the ability to have 6 bathrooms on here and 6 bedrooms. So everybody can have a bed and bath. On the small end, it looks like the smallest footprint in this section is 3,700 square feet. Again, not no slouch. Starting at about $695. And this is gonna be the biggest one, going up to like $789 as a base. If I had to put an estimate on what this is, we probably like 1.1 if I had to guess. They usually kind of put 200 or 300 in different kind of finishes, flooring. They'll spend a lot of money on like the countertops and things just to kind of show you what they have. This one's probably approaching 1, with this one being basically an 800 base. Doing the pool, we're probably like 1.1-ish. If I had to guess, 1.1, 1.2. We'll see in a year or two when it's time for them to sell what they thought it was worth when they put this together. But just looking at this in my experience with them, this is probably like 1.1, 1.2 all in. But yeah, beautiful start, but we got more to see. And another thing that you got to get used to, if you haven't toured a Toll Brothers before, there are some model homes where you kind of just freely walk in and you don't really have to talk to anybody. You can just kind of go in the house and maybe someone will be sitting in the back and they'll determine whether or not they want to leave their desk to come talk to you or not. On this one, you're gonna talk to somebody. So the only way to get into this gate is to go through their sales center. You got to talk to them. Lori and I think Lori and Tommy, I think it was the second one that was in there, a young lady. They're super sweet, so they're not gonna bother you. They're gonna let you do your thing, but you're gonna have to talk to somebody to come see these models, because the only way is through that model home that they have gutted to make into their office. That's the only way in there, okay? Only way in, only way out. But yeah, other than that, man, beautiful day today. Temperature dropped into the 60s, so y'all not seeing that unpaid actor of my sweat that y'all would normally see on a sunny day like this. But let's get into this 60-foot model. We'll break down stats, do all the stuff that we just did for that beautiful 70, and then we'll work our way finally to this beautiful 50-foot model that is kind of looking like, I'm hoping it's my favorite 50-foot, the Belmore plan, but I don't think it is. But it's doing some stuff that's making me think it's Belmore-like. So fingers crossed, because I love that plan. But we'll get right into the next one. All right. Rolling on in to the 60. And let's see if it still has that same magic. Because one of the things that I can say is that as I tour more and more of these, I find myself oftentimes not loving the biggest one the most. I envision myself in that house and how my family would use it, and oftentimes that 50 or that 60 just does an amazing job of what it's supposed to do with the space that it is given, right? It doesn't have to be the absolute biggest house on the block. And let's see if this one can take the throne, because I like that 70 we were just in. That 70 was fire now. I ain't gonna hold you. That was a beautiful layout. So let's see if this one can do it. High style, high design, that's told through and through. You're gonna get that in these models, man. You're gonna get that. And as much as you're willing to pay for on a design, you can get as fancy as you wanna get, okay? Really great size office. This is looking like a Hardy plan in my mind. But again, I've toured so many of these that they start to kind of run together at a certain point. How you doing, man?
Good, how you doing?
Doing all right. Cut through, I think this is beautiful. Builder?
Get in the way here.
Nah, you good. Do your thing, brother. Gorgeous.
Back door open.
Oh my goodness. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, I think this is the Hardy plan. I'm gonna check here in a little bit just so I can get that up off of my spirit. I'm gonna check that. But I did pass up a bathroom, so I wanted to go back to make sure that you saw it. Pretty good size. So people in your living room, or your family room, anybody that you're entertaining down here doesn't have to go into your stuff. Looks like the PM is out there working on getting the outdoor kitchen stuff again. We're a little bit early, but Lori and the squad was gracious enough to let me come do my thing.
Back door open.
Check out the pantry. Pretty cool little size. Mudroom. This would normally be your garage.
Front door open.
The security works, as you can hear. And they got another secret little room that can be overflow. So if you want to do your hand washing, your prepping, anything back here, we got more storage and enough room for another refrigerator, deep freezer. And they're honestly one of the first builders that I've seen that give you this much space to really do that consistently. Good deal. Good deal, man. Loving what I'm seeing. So we'll go out here, do the same thing. Check out this back patio. So we're gonna have outdoor kitchen set up. They're gonna have that. Again, they're gonna show you that you can do the super outdoor patio. And on a previous model, I believe that was in Whistler's Reserve when I saw that with the Mrs., where we both were kind of like, we love this plan. They did a little skinny pool, probably about the same size as that one, off of this, and it just turned this whole backyard into a little oasis. Again, this is not an oversized lot. And yet you have room for a putting green, room for a little garden, room for a little pool in here. Right? Tons of room to entertain out here in a space that is not super humongous. I'm always a fan of good usage of space. And with this being a narrower footprint, we're gonna of course have to tuck that dining room area back in the back corner. Toll doesn't typically let it free float in the middle, so I'm a fan that they always kind of tuck it. And before we go too far in, let me see if I was right. So we should be in the 60-foot section. That is the Sycamore collection. And yes, this is the Hardy plan. All right, so this is a natural 4-bed, but can go up to as big as 5. 3-bed can go up to as big as 5-bath. 3-car garage naturally over here, so that's probably a 3-car tandem. I don't see this being wide enough to get a full 3 unless you're on an oversized lot, which they may have restrictions on here. I'll have to verify that for you if that's something that you're looking for. Base plan on this one is $609. And it goes up to a $629 base. And the base square footage is right around 3,450 square feet. So not a small house by any measure, okay? Beautiful. Love, love, love. Vibey, vibey, vibey. Come in here again, we have the vaulted kind of look. Again, not a super huge room, but it is a really nice size. We got extra furniture in here. We got a nice size dresser in here. We got nice size side tables in here. We got a full king bed in here with this little bench, right? So there's a lot of room, but for a house that is 3,500 square feet, many builders are going to give you that more of a wow size factor in the primary and maybe cut corners on some of the other ones. Toll Brothers seems to do a better job, in my opinion, of kind of spreading that footprint out in different spaces to give you like bigger closets, give you bigger bathrooms. They give you other flex spaces, bigger game room areas, as opposed to putting that extra 100 square footage in here. They kind of spread it over some different things to make everything feel a little bit more grand. And so I think that's a good use of space. Okay. Slide into this primary bath. So on this footprint, it looks like you lose your make ready station. So for people that need that or want that, it doesn't look like you would have the ability to do that in this plan. Looks like you just got the separate vanities and that's what you got. Really good sized tub again though. Shower looks actually about the same as the 70 foot. So that may be why we're not really getting another space to do anything else in it, because that looks like that stayed the exact same as where we just were in about a 10-foot wider home. And there's only so many places you can slice it, right? We still need the linen closet. We still need the closet, right? So where are you gonna put that station? This actually feels a little bit bigger than the 70-foot closet. So man, it's always interesting to see how something is designed out and how the numbers can feel and look different than they look on paper, because this is like 1,000 square foot smaller house on paper, but there are some elements of this that are the exact same or even bigger. And that's why I tell people all the time, man, you gotta go see it. You can't just go off of a rendering. You can't, even this video, right? This is giving you a glimpse into my thoughts, and I'm trying to describe to you with great detail how I'm feeling about the space so you can compare that to other videos that I've done. But truly, you know, if you're looking for a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom kind of house, this will probably do exactly what you need to do and start you about $100K less than what is next door. Okay. So always something to keep in mind. Definitely come put eyes on it. That's the way to go with this, especially with a purchase that is this big. You're always gonna want to come put some eyes on it to make sure that we are finding you exactly what it is you want. And this one gives you a peekaboo, but just to the front door. Now, I didn't notice this the first time that I toured this house in Wilson's Reserve, but this is closed off. But because it is closed off to the living room, it frames up this home to give you this beautiful movie room, right? If we had rails on this side and it was overlooking and doing the 2-story tall ceilings that y'all love, in this home, you wouldn't be able to get this movie room. So on some elements, oh, I kind of like that. Okay. Yeah, in some elements, some people may look at that and say, man, I really want the 2-story family room. And if that's important to you, we can find a plan that does that. But on this one, it's a little bit more closed off. But I think for the greater good of this layout, you get more bang for your buck this way, because you get this huge movie room, again, around the same size as the 70-foot model that we were just in. This is only a little bit smaller than the game room in the 70-foot model that we were just in. So it's not really much sacrifice, man. That's crazy. Now this feels a little bit tighter. Okay, nothing too crazy, but I can feel that drop off in size with the secondary rooms. But again, I should expect that for a house that is 1,000 square feet smaller. That should be a duh kind of moment, right? And it looks like everybody lost ensuite access at this width. So again, if this one has the ability to give everybody their own bath, and it looks like we got a Jack and Jill, y'all know the vibes. We don't cut through that. We walk around because we need them what? We need the minutes. So we're gonna walk around to the other side. Got a little storage closet right there. This room looks to be about the same size. And this will be the other side of that Jack and Jill that we just saw. So could you spring to get everybody their own bath? Yes. I think this is a good size closet. I love when a closet has a window in it. That just feels fancy to me. But yeah, so that's what, 2 beds up, 2 beds down. Huge game room. Really nice size office. Really nice size media room. That is like a quintessential move up family home. That is what so many of y'all hit me up for on a day in and day out basis. This does it, right? If you were to tell me you needed 5 beds, we probably are gonna lose something cool just looking at the width and where things are. I don't see a bunch of doors to attic spaces that I didn't have access to. So I don't know how else they would chop this up to give you another bedroom other than maybe taking away that movie room, which would be less cool to me. But if I walk through here again, that's bedroom, that's the office. Yeah, you would have to probably lose that movie room to get a 5th if you needed it. So this may not work for many people that are just like, I need a 5 bedroom, and that's fine. They got plans that they can give you a really nice 5 or 6 bedroom, right? You just might have to move up to the 70s. All right, so recap one more time. The smallest plan in the Sycamore section is going to be the Indio, starting at around 557. Biggest plan is going to be the Heart plan. That is a 4 or 5 bedroom, 4 bath, around 3,700 square feet. So that would be in line with for those of y'all that are familiar with Highland Homes in my channel, that'll be around the same size as a base 4 bedroom plan for the 222 plan or the 224 plan. Around that 3,700 to 3,800 square feet. That's about what that would be comparable to, okay? But yeah, if I had to put a number on this, the first wave, especially with this section. Now let's talk a little money. Y'all family now. Let's talk a little money. Now that we are just starting out, I'm gonna be honest, because there's so much buzz around this builder, if that house ain't sat for a while, you probably gonna get finessed. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't come out here and just be so gung-ho. Know what your numbers are and know what you're comfortable with, because Toll Brothers is one of those builders that they're gonna put a lot of money, often in a neighborhood like this, they're gonna put a lot of money in their inventory, and so they're gonna be very hesitant to mark that thing down because they're putting really pretty stuff in there. I would say on average, you don't typically start to see the inventory prices start to come down on Toll Brothers until probably about that 60 to 90 day mark, where some of the builders, even the high-end builders that I work with, like a Highland, a Perry, Newmark, Weston, some of those kind of people, they'll start to get that itch around that 30-day mark, where they'll be like, oh, let's drop it 5,000 just to see if that brings somebody. In my experience, Toll has usually held their number the longest because they have that mystique of being the national luxury builder that everybody knows, and they kind of have it, either you can afford it or you can't kind of vibe. That's kind of how they take. And so there's pros and cons to that. The pros is that if the pros of being in this neighborhood, let's just use where we are in Elyson, is because you have competition here. where Toll Brothers typically likes to do their own thing. They like to be their own chief, and it's like them and Tri-Point Homes, they'll usually partner up, and it'll be on land that they're developing where they're the big dog. Toll will usually stay away from these kind of communities because when that competition is kind of driving them to a place where they have to make decisions. Do we try to hold this mystique and this number to set a comp for someone that may come, while someone around the corner may go to the 65-foot Highland, or they may go to the 70-foot Perry? You have a lot of options here, so we can kind of use that to shape our offer to get you the best deal for what makes sense for you. And the answer to it may be, although I think these houses are beautiful, the answer may be, well, hey, we need to go talk to some other builders to get you in your price point, get you in your size, footprint, everything that you want at the price that you're willing to pay. That might be the answer. But I think right now they're playing a little bit of hardball, just from what I can see from the pricing that I've seen online. But only time will tell how they're doing. They have got some sales in here. They have gotten some traction, so they're not out here desperate. That's another thing. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how this one does. And I know I got 3 people right now that are very interested in Toll, and I think y'all need to come see it. But they are a little bit higher price per square foot than the other sections in Elyson currently. We'll see how that stabilizes as we go into the new year. Right now is heading into December. Stuff kind of cools off, and you usually get high incentives and big price drops around this time of year. So we'll see how they manage that and handle that, because they just opened this up like a few weeks ago, right? So I know they're not willing to take a 20K drop or just give you a free 20 to 30K extra in incentive to get you through the door. I don't know if they want to do that because they just opened up. But I'm very interested to see how this thing goes. But we got one more for y'all to check out. But if you had to pick, I honestly and truly, for my family dynamic, think that I would pick this plan. I love what this plan does. I love how it feels. I love the size of it. I love the bedroom. I love how it is framed to give me a really big movie room. As someone that had to build a movie room into our attic, for those of y'all that are not new, we are in that movie room literally every day. My family is in that thing multiple hours a day, every day. So not having a space that is that nice would be a problem to me if we needed another bedroom. But for my people that are looking, they're at that phase where they have that one extra kid, they need that one extra guest room, that one extra space, and this one would probably be a challenge. So if you were in that case, I would go with the Vanquish that we left before. If you are closer to our family dynamic, this would be perfect for a 3-person unit, in my opinion. But we got one more to see. And before we get into the last one, the 50-foot, I just want to be that resource to you. I'm open and honest about everything that we got going on. I'll tell you the places where I got super deals. I'll tell you the places that have played hardball with me. I'll tell you the people that have given me great customer service. I'll tell you the people that have not done right by my clients to save you the stress, the time, the energy, to make sure that this process is as streamlined as possible and as stress-free as possible. Many of y'all are moving from different cities, different states, and there's a lot of research that you're doing, and that's how you found my channel. You're doing research, right? And so no matter what phase you're in, my goal is to be a resource to you, whether you're building or finding an inventory. Inventory is always going to be the best deal. If this ain't your dream home, look at inventory. But if you're not in that situation and you just want to build because you are type A and there's certain things that you just got to have in your house, we can build it, and let's try to negotiate you the best deal that we possibly can. Let me use the leverage that I have with the different contracts that I have in and throughout this entire market with different builders, different locations, different price points, to let you know what's a good deal, what's not, what I'm seeing, what I'm not, and see how we can leverage that expertise to get you exactly what you want. Best way to do that is going to be to call me. I'll throw the number on the screen. You've probably seen it about 20 times so far with how long this video is going to be. You've probably seen it about 20 times so far. For all my tech savvy people, I'll throw a QR code somewhere on the screen right now so you can do the same thing. Book a call. Let's sit down and let's get your family's goals in order. Let's get a strategy in place so we can make sure that we are not letting you get taken advantage of if you're out in this market just doing the thing solo. I know some of y'all, I would say, man, I've been on a little run over the last 4 or 5 months where a lot of y'all will see the video, go tour them, then hit me up afterwards and be like, all right, I'm ready for a contract. That's cool. I'm all with that. I will say that although I have a couple people that'll just be like, man, you said, Aaron, let me throw in an extra 5 to 10. I think it would be much better for you from a financial standpoint if you brought me into it before you went out so we can have this pre-conversation, because I'll tell you, the dynamic of most of the sales counselors in the metro is that they have a supervisor that they have to package up a deal that they think can get approved to someone above them, right? And so I don't want you to go in there and back yourself into any number corner that we can't get ourselves out of once I'm introduced into the situation. Now we're kind of stuck at this number that you said to the sales counselor, right? So I don't want you to be in that situation. If you're serious about it, hit me up beforehand so I can make some calls. I can make sure that I got some kind of a connection up there. That way when the numbers come, we're getting you the absolute best deal. But hey, for those of y'all that have gone out, done your thing, hit me up afterwards. I'll take care of y'all as well, and I'll scratch and scrape for everything that I can for you and make sure that the transaction ends as smoothly as possible and that thing lands. But I do think that you would get a much better deal. And if you're not doing that, you're going to be doing yourself a disservice. Yes, there are going to be people that are going to be ethical and take care of you and all of that stuff. But would you get more if you went through someone like myself that has relationships with these builders, whether it's Toll Brothers, Highland, Newmark, Perry, Chesmar, Weston, you name them. I've done transactions with them this year. Probably got a contract with them right now. Let's see if we can make sure that you're not being taken advantage of in a market like this. But without further ado, let's hop into our last home. All right. Last but not least, man, we're heading into this 50-foot plan. And let's see if on the 50, on the baby plan, if they're still bringing the goods. We do feel that it is a little bit more narrow. Of course, now at this point, we've lost 20 feet of width from the first house that we saw to now. So we're gonna feel that some things probably feel a little bit more tight than they did when we first started the video. But I still think that with the space that we got, that I've seen Toll do some beautiful things on a 50 foot. All right, so this is pretty common on a 50 foot. You'll start to see like those galley style closets on the guest bedrooms. Stuff just gets a little bit smaller. You start to lose space in the bathrooms and the closets. That's where you start to feel it the most once you kind of step down into a 50 foot product. But again, this is gonna be a nice size home. I don't want this to feel like, oh, we settling for a 50. A 50 is gonna be a nice size home for most family or most people kind of starting out in this suburb style house. But there's gonna be a point where the kids that you got are gonna grow. They're gonna need more room for more clothes and more things. And what people do, they sell and go and get something bigger. That's just kind of how life works, right? This is that 50 foot to me is like that quintessential width where if you're moving from another city, it feels elegant, it feels glam. This would be your garage normally. It feels elevated enough, it feels wide enough, it feels grand. Like we got nice tall ceilings in here. 10, 11 foot ceilings. And it's just like, it feels grand, it feels super nice. And this is the width where people really start making that decision of, hey, I would move cities for something that is at least this wide. And then for those people that are looking at, hey, or we got a kid, or we're about to start having kids and we want to be in a burbs, 50 foot seems to be the eye that most people just land on when they're just starting out. 50 foot also is a great step down for people that had the gigantic big houses and now they're downsizing. And they're just like, I don't need the second story that I no longer go up. My kids gone, they've been gone for 10 years. I barely go up there. I don't want to keep cleaning upstairs. Give me a 50-foot, and that 50-foot fits that need very well also. So it's one of those things, man, where 50-foot ends up being one of the top sellers for me because it just fits so many needs. It's for those, like I said, those veterans that have downsized, or those families that have downsized that still want something nice, that they don't want to feel super cramped in, but it's not too big, but it don't make you feel like you're too small, or that you're truly taking a step back or a step down in life. It's truly just a downsize for more convenience for the phase that you're in this life, or for starting that family journey. It's perfect for a lot of people. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Really open concept. Again, one of the things that we'll notice when we pan to the left, really good sized little pantry, is that if you wanted to make that an office, that would be a beautiful office. If you wanted to be your formal dining, you don't need an office, you done retired, you don't need that office. This could be a beautiful little office. If you wanted this to be your media space, this would be a beautiful size for a little media space. Need a playroom? Beautiful playroom, right? The one thing that you will see in the 50-foot is that you kind of gotta make some choices, and you're gonna blend some spaces. As you step down in width, you have to make harder decisions about how you're going to use spaces, just because you don't often have the width to have all of the spaces at the footprint. But we could all say that, right? We could all be like, well, if I had custom home budget, I could have 10 bedrooms and 10 baths, right? We could all do that. But one of the beautiful things to me about new construction is that it can be luxury and glam and whatever you need at that moment in the foreseeable next moments for your family at any budget. So you can just make it work. In our case, that looked like us building out a movie room in an attic. For you, that may mean making the structural change up front and building it. Or it may look like you doing a DIY project or finding a contractor afterwards to do some modifications for you, right? The beautiful thing about beautiful new construction, and if you need a guy, I got a guy for pretty much everything at this point. The only person I don't have in the repertoire is a pool guy. But I've heard enough pricing to know about what stuff cost at this point, enough to be dangerous. So this one, like, you have a split closet on this one. That's nice. Really good size, man. That's really good. No tub on this one. They went super shower, but it looks like we have enough width off of this wall to here that if we needed to do a tub in here, we could definitely do a tub and a shower. You lose the make ready station because you don't have the width. Beautiful. So I do think that I missed a little hallway or something. I want to make sure I got everything for y'all, because that house was over fast, y'all. So we got one bed. Yeah, we saw it all. All right, so that's one bed, two bed. We had a third bed back here. Nice. We had the primary in the back, so that's 4 bed and a flex space. Okay. It's a big, beautiful house. We did it. Okay. So let's go out and check out this back patio so you can get a vibe and a feel for what you can do out here. Do they have it to where we can actually get out here? It look like they got me blocked in. Let me see. They actually have that locked, so I can't go out there for you. But again, good size back patio. Same depth. Looks like they're gonna have a little fire pit. But again, I've seen on inventory houses in the past where a house this size also has that little rectangular pool. So can you fit one? Yeah. Are you missing out on much? Not really, right? So that is, let's talk about it. We're now in the 50-foot Cypress collection. Small end, we got 2,200 square feet. That's the Patricia plan. That is the smallest that you can get. Right now, we are in the Amneris plan, which is a 4-bed up to a 3-bath, 3-car tandem garage around 2,300 square feet. So not super huge, but kind of in that 50-foot sweet spot of that 22 to like 2,400 square feet. That's about, or 22 to 24 on a 1-story, and on 2 stories, you'll typically go up to around 26 to 27. That's about standard for what 50-foot lots do in Houston. This one is like I said, the Amneris plan. Based on this, $457. If you step it up to the more fancy exterior, which I believe this one is, they usually have a little placard on the door, but I didn't see it on the wall specifying which finish this was, but it's usually the fancy one, is $467. If you go up to your 2 stories, you have 2 2-story options. You have a Batista and you have a Tamara. The Batista is around 2,500 square feet, starting at around 500. And the Tamara plan is almost 2,800 square feet, starting at 509. Okay, so not a huge jump up in price. Now, that's going to be before structural changes, cosmetics, all of those things. So all in all, for a house in this section, you're going to pay a little bit more of a premium for that household name of going into buying a Toll Brothers home, right? You're going to pay a little bit more for that. But I would say you would probably be able to get a nice size home like this one or even a bigger one and still be under 600. But if you're going all out, you're probably going to be approaching 600. You should spend, what I would say most of my clients spend on bills is somewhere between 10 and 15%. So if we're at right around 500 base, they're probably going to give you like 20 to 30 towards closing costs or design center or something like that on the build. And that's the only reason I'm not saying that right now is because times change and that incentive changes. So you're typically going to get somewhere at this price point between 20 and 35,000 for incentives, closing costs, design center. You can split that up usually how you want to. And most people are going to spend about 50 grand on a house that is this size to get the flooring, the countertop, all these hutches, all these accents, the sliders, all that stuff. People are going to spend about 50 grand for something that's this big. And something that was as big as the first one, on the low end, you're probably going to spend somewhere around 75 grand, just by how big that house is, okay? Middle, you'll be somewhere in that like 50 to 60 range. You'll kind of stair step it, basically around that 10% mark of what the house costs is about what people spend in these homes, okay? Just to make them pretty and not look super basic. But like I said, the best deal at all times. If this ain't your dream home, you need to be looking at inventories. You need to, because there's gonna be things like fireplaces. There's gonna be things oftentimes like sliders. There's gonna be things like upgraded range hoods and kitchens, because on an inventory home, they want those things to sell like hotcakes. They want them to sell. So they're not going to, at this caliber of a builder, they're not going to come in here and just put trash in the house. So what you get, if you're patient and you find one that works for you, what you'll get and what you'll see is that you're gonna get an upgraded home. At some point in time, they're gonna flip that switch and they need to come down off those prices. You're gonna get an upgraded home basically at base price, okay? But you gotta be patient. Now, what we don't know is if you got 70 people or 70 families in this neighborhood that aren't patient, that just come and buy up everything and mess the prices up. We don't know that, Only time will tell, only the market can tell us that, right? But what I do know is that there's so much competition in this neighborhood that I expect them to kind of normalize to what Elyson has been in these size footprints for the last few years now, right? But this is the video for the day. I love myself a toll. I sell quite a few tolls. If I had to say the builder that people cape for the most, especially coming from other places, my out of state people cut for toll like nobody else. But I do get a lot of people from Cali and up in the Northeast. And they just know toll, they know the name, they've seen the commercials, they've seen the ads. It's a beautiful home, beautiful layouts, beautiful gowns. They got it. I love them. They are a national company, so some elements of them working with them can be a little bit colder and not necessarily that at-home feel that you might get with like a Weston or a Perry or a Highland. Some of these people that are more local to the Houston metro, and so there's some elements that it works like a business, so it's kind of fast and cold. And then there's other elements where, because it works like a business, sometimes it just comes down to numbers, and does the numbers make sense? And if so, we can do a deal. If not, move on, go somewhere else, right? But yeah, that's the video for today, man. This is a beautiful home. I think if I had to pick, I truly had to pick, I would pick that 60-foot home. In terms of taxes, you still in Elyson. So you still in the 3.2s to 3.3 for property taxes. So on a house that is this big, you're gonna spend over $1,000 a month. There's no way around that unless you are a disabled veteran and you have some exemptions that remove taxes from you. Unfortunately, that's how we fund things in the Houston metro. No way around that. As a result of that, and the taxes that you're paying over here, you, however, are still in Katy ISD until further notice. I don't think that's going to change. This is a premier builder. They usually don't do premier builders like that, where they'll change a school district or something on you kind of last second. This is on the far west side border of it, but you're not so far that you're kind of touching Sunterra or any of those that jumped over into Royal. So you should be good with this being Katy ISD. I believe the school is actually like right behind the camera. There's a school like right visible to there. So yeah, in terms of what else didn't I tell you? You got 2 amenity centers. The second one opened like last year, right next to the Welcome Center. You have orchards through the neighborhood. You got event lawns and pickleball courts. You got lakes and walking trails. You got all this stuff. And it's one of the reasons why Elyson is a top 50 selling master plan community in the whole nation, and has been for the last several years. And now that just got a little bit sweeter with one of you guys' favorite builders of Toll Brothers in the neighborhood. But is that enough for you?